Hi, I'm Steve Miller and welcome to my second video of editing with DXO Photolab 8. I did get a few views on my first video, couple of comments and even a couple of subscribers, so I thought I'd do another one. Sorry about the sound quality. I might decide to invest in a decent microphone if I decide to carry on doing this. Right, let's get into the edit. This time I thought I'd edit this photo I took in April earlier this year. It's of a fox. I thought I'd pick this one because it's a very high ISO image, and I just thought I'd show you what can be done. You know, some images. I mean, I wouldn't have even dreamt of taking this image a few years ago, but the way um, cameras sensors are better and what software can do, it's just amazing what we can achieve now. This was taken late in the evening. It's a photo of a fox. I'll just show the sequence actually. It's why I wanted to keep this image. Where I live, the rural foxes, not urban foxes, so they usually run a mile if they think there's humans about. So I was quite happy to get this photo. This is when I first saw the vixen, and I thought it spotted me, but actually it hadn't. It carried on its business, and then it started coming towards me. So I sort of ducked down a banking and got behind some grasses, and I realised it was the sort of path it would probably take, and I just waited for it, and I was quite happy that it did come nearer. And that is the sequence. All in all, I think it lasted about 3 minutes from the first time I saw it. Let's have a look at the metadata. Yes, there's a 2030. And it scurried away at 2033. So it was like 3 minutes, but I was quite happy to get this photo. I've picked this one to edit. I thought that was the best of the sequence, the sharpest. So right, let's get into the edit. My usual way of doing things, I'll do it in order down through the tools on the left hand side of the screen because I'm left handed with my Wacom tablet. As usual, the first thing I'd do is I'd do the crop. So I'd just do a slight crop on this. When I'm doing my crops, I always look. If you're down here, this is the size that your crop is going to be. I never go below 3000 on the longest edge. Just because you can get with 3000, I think you can get a decent A4 print with 3000 pixels. So it's just something I've done, and it's just the way I work. So I never go below 3000. If you see, if I go to 3000 on this image, takes you down to about there, which is just too tight. It's too tight a crop on this image anyway, but so there's a bit of leeway for cropping on this. So I'd go something like that. Now, just take that over a bit more. This image, it's got a bit of a leading line coming this way because of the light, the grass. It's just a natural sort of leading line. I find images, it's better if the leading lines, if you can get them coming from left to right. So this image, I think would probably be better flipped horizontally. I'm going to have a bit of a rant about DXO Photolab now. For some reason, DXO, you cannot flip an image horizontally or vertically unless you have DXO viewpoint installed on your machine. Well, it's £100 in the UK for viewpoint, and I don't do architectural photography. I just do mainly wildlife, landscape, and sport. So very rarely I'd use a lot of the stuff that the DXO viewpoint is for. All I want to do is flip horizontally, which I can do, but I don't want to pay £100 just so I can flip an image. I mean, that should be built into DXO Photolab, in my opinion. I shouldn't have to pay £100 for that. I mean, at the moment I've just got the trial version of Viewpoint installed, so that's why I can do it on this. Right, rant over. Let's get back into the edit. So now we're going to go down onto the light, the exposure. This looks bright enough. Let's say it was quite dark when I took it, so I don't want to brighten it up too much. The smart lighting. Let's just see what this is going to help. I suppose yes. I'll just up the smart lighting a bit. It's just seems to be adding a bit of contrast there, so that looks a bit nicer. Clear view plus this will be the same thing. Well, that's way too much. Just have a look. Yeah, actually, I think this does benefit from a bit of clear view plus on this image. Down to the selective tone. Let's see if we just lift the shadows a little bit, and then drop. I think I might drop the midtones. Yeah, that looks okay. I'll leave that at that. Contrast. Looking at this, let's try just giving it a bit of fine contrast, and that's not too bad. Like I said, this sort of image like this, I wouldn't do too much work on it because it's not an award winner. It's taking it ISO 10,000, but it's just one. I wouldn't throw the image away. It's just like a memory for me, really. It's not very often I get photos of these rural foxes in my area, so it's quite nice to have one. So I don't want to throw the image away, so I might as well just work a little bit on it. Let's have a look at the details, the deep prime. So this is where we have to use the loop to have a look, just see how it's working. Yeah, that's looking quite nice. On this occasion, I think I'd go with the deep prime 3 because the XD2S is just giving it a bit of a waxy look. So I think, yeah, I like the deep prime better on this image. So I'll just stick with deep prime on this image. The dramatic calibration I've just set as normal. Lens sharpness, this very rare I touch this really. I just leave that as it is. I'll just show, actually I haven't mentioned before, the tone curve. If you want to set a black and a white point in Photolab, it's quite easy to do with the tone curve. If you turn the tone curve off and go onto the Luma curve, you can just drag the point at the bottom, your white point, till it hits the histogram. And same with the black point. So it's just a matter of eyeballing it and seeing what you think. It's a way of adding contrast. You have to be a bit wary. It can very slight. I find you don't want to be doing too much in this, or you can just start looking a bit too contrasty. But that's not looking too bad. I probably would leave that with the tone curve in. Now the colour, it's got a little bit of a magenta tinge to me, this image, so I'd go into the white balance, and these presets down, it's quite good just to hover over and see which one you like. I mean, some of them look horrible. Actually, it wasn't taken with flash, but flash doesn't look too bad on this image. Shades, yeah, they're looking okay. I'd probably go, weird as it seems, I think I'd go with a flash on this one. That's looking quite natural. Maybe just tone it down a little bit. It might just be a bit too warm. So I'll probably leave that about there. Now, I think this image is a little bit bright in this right hand corner again. I don't want to darken that down a bit, so that's quite an easy one. Again, with you could use a control line or a graduated filter for doing this. A graduated filter will be fine. I'm just going to use that, and then very rare I'll actually use exposure on the graduated filter because it darkens everything. Sometimes you don't really want the dark parts of that part of the image too dark. So I usually go, I'll just drop the highlights and the midtones, and then it doesn't make the darker parts of the image too dark in that area. It's not looking too bad. I'll just angle that a bit more. Yeah, I'm quite liking that. Right, let's have a look for the other local adjustments. I think this might be quite nice with a vignette. If you've got fill pack installed, it has actually got a creative vignette tool. So if you turn that on, and then you can actually brighten it, or you can darken the corners, which is what I do. To do this, I'll usually put it down a lot more than I need to. Knock the transition so you can actually see where the vignette is happening, and then this is where I'd get my shape, and then of course you can just knock that transition back, and then just tweak it to how you'd want that vignette to look. If you haven't got film pack installed, I'll just turn that off. There's another way of doing a vignette using a control point, which sometimes is actually better than the film pack version of the vignette. So I'll add a control point, a large control point, just around the fox, and then you turn the filters off so that all of that control point is picked with a soft gradation against it, and then you can actually invert the control point. So now the outside of the image is picked, and this is quite good. This is where it's better than the film pack creative vignette, because you can actually just drop the highlights and the midtones, and you don't have to drop the blacks. The film pack version, I think it just works on like exposure, so sometimes it crunches the blacks too much, which I don't like. I'm just wanting to just try to get rid of the highlights, and I mean, I don't think I'd even touch the shadows on this one. I think I'd just do the midtones and the highlights just to darken around the edge of the image. I think, yeah, I like that better than actually the film pack vignette. So I will just rename that control point so I know what it does in future. Right, now what else do we need to do? On this one, I think I go with the just try to give that fox a bit more of the pop like I usually do with the wildlife images. So I'll just up the size of my brush, I'll just zoom in a little bit. Just make sure I'm doing a new mask. Same again, you don't have to be too critical on this. I'm just going to try and add a little bit of micro contrast to this. What I'd do at this point as well, I'd duplicate the mask and then invert it. So that's for the background. That's my background mask. So I'll go back to the fox mask and I'll rename that fox. And then my background, I usually just do it as BG, so I know that's for background. Right, so the fox mask, I would just up the micro contrast slightly. I might even drop the highlights a little bit. Just raise the shadow slightly, and maybe even just go in and put a bit more colour into the fox. Yeah, that's looking okay. Then I go back and I go into the background, and this is where I do negative on the micro contrast. It just seems to put that little bit of a bokeh on the background. It just sort of blurs it slightly. It just draws your eye to the fox. which is what you always try to do really, is draw the eye to the subject. So I don't think we're a million miles away now. They've done the local contrast, local adjustments. This thing, I don't really like this twig that's here, so I'll try and get rid of that. Let's see how we can do with the repair tool. Yeah, that's not looking too bad. I'll just have to, oh, just need to get rid of that. I don't like the floating bit of grass there, so I'll just get rid of that. Yeah, that looks okay. Just this bright spot when I'm on the heal tool, I might just try and get rid of that bright spot there. Just try and get rid of the distracting bits in the background really. Now that isn't looking too bad. Back overall, I'll probably go back and just tweak and drop the midtones, but I think I'm going to lift them back a little bit just to brighten the image back. Yeah, so yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Just a quick edit really. I'll just do I'll export and we can do it before and after. Even using the AI, it doesn't take too long. I'm on a Mac Mini, base Mac Mini M4, and the exports don't take long at all. Right, so that is the JPEG. This, I'll just reset that image. Now that's strange because I've reset that, but it hasn't actually reset the viewpoint, the orientation, which I wouldn't know why it wouldn't do that, but I will reset it. So that's the original image was like that. So I can go back and forward. So that is the original image. Oh, I'll just move that out of the way. And that is after. So that's before and after. Before and after, which yeah, I'm quite happy with that. As usual, I would go away, I'd leave it for a bit of comeback. I do notice myself that sometimes the things like the white balance, you get a bit, you might come back, I might come back and think, oh no, I need to sort the white balance out, but yeah, it's better to just to walk away for a couple of hours at least and then come back and do it again. But, so I hope that you enjoyed that one. I hope that helped. I will be looking at doing some more videos. It would be nice to have any ideas of what you like me to look at. I mean, I do landscape and sports, so if if you've got any videos, any suggestions, what you want me to do, like workflows for sports photography or anything like that, it'd be most welcome for you if you can just give me some ideas, really. Right. Thanks for watching. Bye.